Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight. Got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet. Cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Before we get going, Maximus, go to bed. All right, Danny. So with that, we are back. I'm back. I'm feeling much better. Thanks for
Good.
holding down the fort last week and hanging out
Yeah.
with Melissa. I'm jealous and
Yeah,
sad
right.
because
It was a
that was a lot of
struggle for
fun.
me. It was a sacrifice, but for you, my friend, I did it.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a sacrifice. You guys weren't having any fun at all.
No, 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 not at all. No. Yeah, she's great.
I'm curious, man. What are you up to today?
Um, I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, okay, great.
There
I'm
you
sure that Phil will be very
go. Yeah.
excited
Love you,
to know
Phil.
that.
That was the weirdest thing I've heard all month, but yeah, sure, okay. I take it as a compliment. If anybody didn't listen to that episode, Philip Zimmerman, I believe, his last name
Yep.
with Hop on Pop Culture said that I sounded like Nicolas Cage, and I mean, I kind of take like it's a compliment. Cool. I don't think so.
I don't think many of
Right.
us, yeah, I don't think any of us really agree completely with that, but hey, whatever. If
You
it,
know,
if it fits
Phil,
his
you're
ears, great.
right. Your brain is what counts right now. So
Yeah, man. Last week sucked. Um, just
mhm.
not feeling well at all. And I think many households have gone through the same issues. So that's I'm glad that's done and over. However, as we turn the page to the next week, here we are in spring break. And instead of doing all of the fun things that we had planned, I have been home now for the past 2 days, taking care of my oldest, who
Mhm.
I've talked about before on the show, has a super rare autoimmune disorder and was coughing for a couple of days, and we were trying to just manage it. And then he popped a fever and went down to Children's Urgent Care and was diagnosed with a lower left lobe pneumonia.
Mhm.
So yeah, we're just kicking it here at the house,
Yeah.
watching movies, and yeah, just maneuvering through all of that. From a dad with kid with an autoimmune disorder, there's a lot of emotions. There's
Yeah.
a lot of just mental things going through. But I will
Mhm.
say the thing that I think we talk about most is, you need a men's group and a mentor. And in the situation of having a child with something
Right.
as very like rare, having a support group for that specific rare thing. And so I actually, when all this was diagnosed, had gotten into a support group for families of APS1, and which also is APESED. And I'm not even going to go through the full acronym of it, but basically,
Yeah.
these kids, they're doing what they can, but also, can be affected by uncleanliness and different things like that. And not that we like keep our house like under like a complete like disinfectant. Like this
Yeah.
is not ET, the house is not covered and walking around in a hazmat suit. We're not having to, it's not a Monsters Inc. level of showing up when a sock lands on the back.
2319, 2019, 2319.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No need to do that. Okay.
No, not nothing along those lines, but it's still difficult, especially in the situation of we had plans and those got thwarted and trying to
Hmm.
figure that all out. So I feel like in a lot of ways, though, it was really therapeutic to listen to you and Melissa talk last week while I edited it, because one of the things that you guys brought up was the cortisol rush,
Hmm.
which I hadn't really heard about. And I was thinking about it, and my son, his body does not produce cortisol anymore. One of the things with his
Oh wow.
autoimmune disorder is that the antibodies can attack the adrenal glands and shut that down or cause issues with that.
Mm.
But also, too, with this APESED, it can actually just cause your body to not produce cortisol ever again. Once your body stops making it,
Hmm.
it will never regenerate it and make it again.
Wow.
It completely shuts that factory down. And so at that point,
Oh man.
you are forever dependent on hydrocortisol pills and
Hmm.
possibly shots, depending on
Mm.
situations.
Yeah, your levels or whatever.
Yeah. And so he has to take pills throughout the day because we, as just normal, regular people, our body will give us a shot, in the morning to kind of get us going for the day, one in the afternoon, and then usually one in the evening type of deal. And that's when he has to have his meds.
Hmm.
And so I was talking to Corey about it. I was looking at sort of the different things that a cortisol rush does. And I said, you know what? I was like, for all the things that he goes through, some of the things that he will never really have to deal with is over anxiety in a heightened situation.
Hmm.
And she was like, I see that both as a positive and a negative.
Right. Right.
The most chilled kid ever. Like, hey, what's it? Like, it's the whole idea of the dog sitting at the desk while there's like a fire in the background. Like,
Yeah.
that's,
This is fine. This is all
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh, like that's pretty much it because he won't have his body won't produce that extra gush. It's just
Hmm.
like it's just gonna keep him level.
Yeah. Yeah. Push that vagal balance. That's and it's great though in a way. But
In a
yeah,
way.
there's a yeah a bit of trepidation there. I mean, I don't want my kids to have anxiety. Lizzie has it. Period. That's just But I would love it if my kids didn't. But I do prefer them to react to,
Yeah.
to stressful situations.
Yeah. And that was one of the things I was talking to her about as well, because I was like, I remember as a kid, I went to a camp called Respect the Law Camp, or
Hmm.
Respect for the Law Camp. And it was
Okay.
a camp that you went to for a couple of days. It was led by police officers, state troopers, like all
Hmm.
kinds of stuff like that. And you were learning different team building skills, but you were also learning situational, how to act, how to respond type of deal.
Yeah.
And it really changed my perspective on just observation and being cognizant in like in like a large crowd settings
Hmm.
and things like that. And I was telling Corey, I was like, maybe we need to look into signing him up for that because it might be helpful for him to be put into some of those situations in a safe space where there's
Right.
no real danger, but it
Yes.
would give him the opportunity to sort of see how to maybe react in those situations.
Hmm.
So kind of looking into that, and honestly, like it's a great program. It was started by state police officers, I believe, in Indiana. And when I was a kid, that was the thing. So, but I did find one here in Ohio, literally just up the highway too. So
Hmm.
it's nice to see that it's expanding.
Yeah. Yeah. And situational awareness and not panicking is one of the most important things I think that you can teach that any human being needs to know
Hmm.
because panicking always goes bad. There's
Oh yeah,
never any good that once you panic, nope, that's it. Yeah, everything's going downhill. So that's great. But then also understanding how he reacts as opposed to how other people react. I think, and
yeah,
that's probably what the point you were getting at. And
yeah,
that's genius, I think, because recognizing that, and I think most parents think their kids are special, in some way. They see that thing. I don't. I'm much more. I mean, they are, but also, come on, they're jerks. Let's just face it. Look at them; they're doing this thing. But you have that mentality and that idea. But the reality of it is they are. Each kid has their own way, and this is a very very big example of it, very broad example of it. Cortisol production. Come on, we need that. Well, okay, so how is he going to react? And then, therefore, how do you tailor how you teach him, how you lead him into other things, how, if there's a fire, how do we get out of the house and how he's going to react as opposed to how like your daughter would react, or maybe you and your wife would react. Cause I know I'm probably going to be okay in a fire. I think Marnie would, but it's your kids and that
yeah.
adrenaline and heart rate. And if your kid is just, no, we're fine. You know, like you said, the house is on fire, dog sitting on, no, this is fine. We're good. No, we got to get out.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the point being, that's a great idea, I think, to expose him to that. And I really, I love the one of the things I love about being a dad is that for me, and I think for most of the dads I know, we're okay if our kids fall down. We're okay if our kids get dirty or maybe knocked around a little bit, even not hurt, not injured, I should say, not injured,
Right.
but that we tell our kids, this is, I am your stable foundation. This is where you can always come back to. When you go over there, you might fall. You
Yeah.
might get hurt. This might happen. But if you want to go over there, I know you're not going to get injured, probably. I know you're not going to get, really hurt. So I'm going to let you go over there and figure out, yeah, I told you you could fall out of that tree and you fell and you're okay. You scraped your knee. Let's get up and let's take care of it. But I think that is just a very important way for our children to learn.
Yeah.
Just because the world is going to knock them down. I mean, it's just, but that situational awareness and being able to look at what's going on around you and saying, this looks a little dangerous. This, I don't think
Hmm.
people recognize. People can't see this thing happening, or they don't see this, this is coming on, and you being one of the, or your child being one of the people that can look at it and go, no, no, that fire is too close to that, gas tank or something, whatever it might
Yeah.
be, or
Right. Exactly.
yeah, right. Being the one in the movies that recognize something's going to blow up before it blows up and getting away from it, that kind of person,
Yeah. That kind of person.
that kind of person.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't start a
So
fire near a big propane tank. That's,
that's just, yeah, let's just figure we're all right. Yeah.
yeah. Then you just
Yeah.
have to worry about Nicolas Cage coming in at that point and saving the
Hmm.
day.
Yep. Hopefully.
But
So,
yeah,
but
so that
mhm.
conversation was great yesterday or last week. Just listening to that, and that's up and available for people to listen to. I don't know if you saw like the little uh, graphic I made for it, which I thought was pretty funny. Was I was like because it was all about pushing buttons, and I ended up finding the anger guy from the cartoon, and
From
getting ready
that
to push
movie
the
that we
button,
both know the name of, absolutely.
but has completely blanked my mind. It's okay.
Inside Out. Inside Out.
There it is. Yep, you
Is it
got it.
Inside Out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Way
Thank
to
you,
go.
brain. Ugh. Eventually, it kicks in.
Yeah, that's like my coffee. It needs to kick in.
Right. Or at least it happened before we got very, very far away from it, because that happens to me a lot. We get 5 minutes later and I go, "I'm
True.
inside out." And people are like, "What are you doing? Why are
It-
you yelling out loud? What is wrong?" It just hit me, and and I had to share it before I forgot it again. But yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So,
Well, hey, you and the guys for the board of directors were having a little get together here this past
hmm
weekend, and I know Wandering Mind or what was that? Pondering Minds. I don't know how you call that. Like, or
uh,
would be interested in knowing how that went.
something minds want to know.
Inquiring minds want
Inquiring
to.
minds want to know.
Inquiring minds. Yeah. Wait, think I
Um,
go with brains. That hamster's starting to wake up.
well, I want to say this is my fourth board retreat. I think, yeah, one, two, yeah, this is my fourth. And when I first went, and they said we're doing this because I didn't know until they announced we're doing it. And they're like, yeah, we do it every year. Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, cool. And my mind was like, why? I don't have extra time. I don't have extra money. I need to stay with my kids. Tell me why this is so important. Now, I didn't ask that question. I went to find out on my own. Let's figure out what is going on. And honestly, it was a requirement, and they said they'd pay for my gas. So, and of course, they got the Verbo, and they paid for one meal, and that's oh, they actually got groceries too. So anyway, they paid for a lot of the stuff, which I also wanted to know. What? We're a nonprofit. How are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And I think it's a reasonable question. And I want to address that first because we did, I think four of us drove down to or drove to Chicago, one from too far away, in my opinion, but we all drove to
I
down to
mean, it's not like you're
Chicago.
going to Tahoe or,
Right. Right.
Palm Spring or something
And
like that.
we go to a city that we want to host a convention in.
Yeah.
That's Chicago was where this all started. Chicago was the place that we wanted to be on our 30th. And we're still trying to do that. The issue with Chicago is it is extremely expensive.
Money, money,
Um,
money,
yeah, it just our
money.
ticket goes up $100.
Oh, yeah.
because the rooms go up and the food and beverage minimum goes way up. We're still in negotiating for that one because they want twice, literally twice as much for their food and beverage minimum as other cities do. And I'm like, and this is a good hotel, right?
And that's why we're
But
going to be
anyway,
in Napersville. No, I was kidding.
yeah, yay. And people often ask, well, why don't you have it near me? Why don't you have it near me? And the answer is probably because it's expensive.
You live in
We
an
were
expensive city.
Yeah, and we were looking at Seattle, and I'm like, yeah, that I would love to go to the Northwest again. The Pacific Northwest it's been a long time since we've been up in that area. And we had literally had another organization that said, hey, we'd like to have you here and we'll see what we can do to, get something together. And we're like, okay, these are our parameters, whatever. And they were like, we can't find anything. Yeah. Yeah. And we've been trying. We want to have it all over the place, but yeah. And if anyone listening wants to have a convention in your area, there are some very simple things that we need. And you can talk to, any of the board members. You can talk to, ask on Facebook, ask in Discord, or you can just email board@homedad.org and just say, hey, how do I do this? How do I get there? We call them RFP, request for proposal. I know you know that. And they are tailored. So we don't really have a template at this point that we can just send out to everybody, but we can definitely get you that information. And we'd
Yeah.
love to have it near you. We'd love to. It just comes down to price.
I still want to bring it back to Cincinnati again.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like it was fun when we came, but it was still
Mm-hmm.
under COVID protocol. So
Mm-hmm.
I really want to try to get it back here again because it
Yep.
seemed like everybody had a great time. And I just feel like there's just so much more to be
And
experienced there.
this is one of your love languages is hosting,
Oh, yeah.
is giving something to a group of people and to make them happy and let them have fun and to really get inspired by them, but also to inspire them. And yeah, I can see that. I would just, again, board at homedad.org. Yeah. I'm not going to do it
Agreed.
today for sure. I will forget, but yeah, and that you know how to do it. You're on the boards. I'm not telling this to you, obviously. More for people that might be listening, but
Was a
so
long, long time ago.
it was, yeah, yeah, and your life's gotten so much quieter,
No, it
easier,
hasn't.
right?
No, I got involved in way too much other crap outside
Right.
of it.
Yeah. You had to fill that time up. Yeah.
Ugh.
So back to the retreat itself. We did go to Chicago because we're looking at potentially having the convention there again. And it gives us an ability to walk around the city, to go to the restaurants. And we didn't eat at any of them, but to look at them and say, okay, do you have the space for convention eve? Do you have the space where we could host a dinner? Would this be a place that we would recommend, to our groups? Because we're trying to get to a point where we can look at it and say, hey, these are, 3 walking distance restaurants. And this is what this has, this is what this has. So you don't have to go and look on your own. And also to kind of help our smaller groups inside our convention to go together. Well, yeah, there's this thing, and then everybody in there go, well, let's all go to this one. We're also going to try, and we've tried this before and have yet to really get anybody to agree with it, to look at, okay, so we got 3 restaurants within walking distance. We want a 10% discount for our convention goers, because we're going to promote you, and we would, and again, maybe it'll happen this year. Maybe it'll happen in San Antonio. We'll see. But we're trying to find that framework in that city for what we offer to the convention goers. And Chicago is pretty good. It really is. It's just expensive. But
Yep.
um,
Yeah.
but other than that, we did a lot of work, which again, I'm like, why am I doing this? Why are we doing this? Every single board retreat I've been to, we spend all day working. We take a break for lunch, of course, but we spend all day just going over so many things. And a lot of it is stuff that we don't have implemented yet, so I can't talk about it or don't want to talk about it before I have all the details how we're going to do it. But stuff like we've been thinking about, and I think it's been knocked around, and I'm wearing one right now, is limited edition merch. Just getting something like a special Dad Lounge t-shirt, a Dad Lounge hat, or a patch or something like that. And having these things offered, there's probably not any profit in it. It's not going to be something that we're going to sell 1,000,000 shirts or even 100 shirts. But it's not about that. And what we talked a lot about this weekend was the value of our community and how our community is so much stronger than many others. That our community doesn't have a face. Like if you say, oh, the National at Home Dad Network, you don't think, or most people don't think this person, like Danny Mercer or Keith Nagel or Al Watts or Brock Luce or, whatever. Most of the time, you know who those people are, but we don't have one person that's running this. This is a team effort across the board. And it's that community that makes it that way, that puts us in a place where if someone's coming to talk to us about anything, they're talking to us and not to Keith or not to, Brock and whatever. And that's important to the point where we're looking at ways to give like the book club its own t-shirt, or its own hat, or, we'll maybe a bookmark. That probably
bookmark. There you go.
Hang on, write that down. Bookmark, genius, Danny. There you go. But I am going to write that down because I will forget that later. Sorry, but it's just doing stuff for the community simply because we love the community. We're not making money. We're not making money on anything because, we're not profit, but we're not looking to sell things to people. We're not looking to, hey, if you'll buy this shirt, we'll do this or whatever. We do want everyone to be a paid member. That is very important to the organization and to continue things like this podcast and the other things that are supported by memberships. But overall, it's just a move to tell the members, thank you. We're glad you're here. You're in book club. That's great. We love book club, and we do. Book club's awesome. We love the Dad Lounge. We love all the things that we do extracurricular, and to have, a sticker or a coffee mug or whatever. It is a lot more work than I'd like it to be. I'm actually going to have to get a couple of people to help us out on that, because we use Printful, which is the best way right now for the organization to do things. And you can print up anything and they'll produce it for you, but you have to go in and take the logo or the image and put it in, and it's a single file, and that is your thing. And then if you want to do another one, you have to do another one. So you can't just go in and go, I want to see Home Dad chat on 5 different things. Now you can do that in other places, but Printful for us is the most economical, and it really works to give the membership things that are lower cost. It's just a little more effort on the front end. So that was a big part of it, is talking about community and how we can thank you all, thank everybody. We also talked about Father's Day, the membership drive, and what we're going to do between now and Father's Day, and what we're going to do after it, because that is, of course, an obvious time to ask for memberships. We also talked about Father's Eve, and Father's Eve is still very important to us and to the organization. And we want to make sure that we are promoting that, and that we're looking for the local dads, like some in each time zone, that could join us like we did last year. Get with Keith on the Dad Lounge and just, cheer for fathers. Mm-hmm. Just understand that we fatherhood is great, and it can be. So, and then more business parts of it, we have a lot of committees, as you're aware, and we're looking to restructure how we handle committees. The thing came up, we had last year, I think 7 board nominees and only 3 positions. And it's only 3 positions every year. And we were talking about, why do you want to be on the board? I mean, what's the attraction? Because let me tell you, it's a lot of dang work. But the answer for most people was, I just want to help out. I just want to help more. And we talked about, okay, being on the board is fine. You want to be on the board, and this is to every one of our members. Absolutely. Put your name in the hat. But what if we had more opportunities other than those just 3 positions a year? And it's restructuring what our committees are. We have whatever the one that I'm most familiar with is the Facebook admin committee. And we have a tiered system in the admin committee. If you want to be an admin, we have a hiring process. Basically, we have an interview. We have some fairly stable things that, well, you need to be able to do this and this and this, right? And so looking at the other committees and just not taking them over, not changing them completely. If you're doing the work, you're doing the work, and we're going to leave you like it is. We'll tell it to everybody. We're not looking to upset the apple cart, but just to make it more appealing, really. But if
Yeah.
you want to help out, then find a committee. You want to be on the board, be on the board. We are not, I mean, absolutely. We want people on the board. We want people, if that's what you want to do, that you want to help, please come on. But there are a lot of people who won't make it every year. A lot of very valuable, very skilled, very loving, very community oriented people. So it's a little bit wonky, I guess, right now, the way we do our committees. And I feel like we need to, and the board feels like that we need to step into more having a director, board director in that committee, or teaching that committee or what have you, to say this is how we do it, this is our expectations kind of thing. But then the committee handles it, and
Right.
the committee does that work, and they make their decisions, and they have our, the guidelines. Let's stay in this place. But well, for me, you're the admin chair. Do it like this. Stay within these lines and do it the way you want to do it. And I think that's really very important, again, to building community, to giving these amazing dads that we have that are passionate and talented and just so involved with kids and fatherhood, giving them a place to work a little bit more, to find
Yeah.
another little group you're a part of, and this is the job you do, and this is how you help. Because we've had people, and I don't think he would mind me saying this, but Jeremy Haston has been nominated again this year for the board and has decided to decline. He's too busy. And if you know Jeremy, and I told him this directly, if he gets on the board and he isn't able to give 100%, he's going to be disappointed in himself. He's going to be down on himself. It's going to cause negative feelings for him and possibly into his family, what have you. And it's not going to be a positive experience. Once he gets done with some of the big things that he's got coming up, and he gets more to where, because he's going to start going to school, when he gets through all that, he'll have the time. Right now, I would love to have Jeremy on our board of directors, but at this point, it's just not feasible for him. Right.
Yeah. And I think that
So,
that's a good thing, to be honest
yeah.
and upfront. Like,
Yes.
and learning, that is a huge skill to learn, because
Hmm.
so many times, like, a person could come to you and ask you, hey, would you be
Hmm.
willing to do this? And like, you're like in your head, you're like, I don't think I should do this. But then at the same time, like, your mouth says, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
And
Isn't it
I've
a
been in,
great skill?
I've been in that place. I've been there.
Yes, you have.
Don't sit there and judge me. Don't judge me. Jeez.
I'm
I,
only
I can
judging you
feel
from
it.
a place that I know if people think you about it, maybe they don't think about me because I do
Oh
the same
man.
thing.
No.
We're
Well,
right there. We're right
yeah,
there.
I mean, I could give you examples just there in the past 48 hours of some things that I've
Hmm.
had to say no to, just because, like, I'm just like, I don't have the capacity for it.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, we've seen guys who have agreed to be on the board, be voted in on the board, and then like have to step away months after being on there
Yeah.
because it just they thought they could do it, and it was just like, man, I didn't realize like how much time this takes, and then also
Yeah.
too, like, just the way that it can have effects on your family,
Hmm.
and that side of things, and so I think too, that's why like a lot of times, just I guess that saying that is a good way for hopefully a lot of people who are in that place of a like, gosh, man, I wish I was a manager. Then I could just sit in the office all day and just watch everybody else work, not realizing like what really goes on
Right.
and
Tell me
the
you've
amount of
never been a manager without
the
saying I've never been a manager.
right?
Oh man.
The amount of extra hours that you put in that no
Hmm.
one ever sees, that and you will never ever be thanked for
Right.
what you did behind closed doors type of deal. And I think that there's a definitely there can be a mentality of that for some people sometimes,
Hmm.
and it's one of those things where it's important to just be real with yourself,
Right.
and I love that. What a humble position for Jeremy to be in that situation.
Right.
And I know there's other guys that have done that too. There's plenty of guys in the past that have been, approached and asked,
Hmm.
and they've said, nope. I mean, I love this organization, but that is not that is not something that I can do
Hmm.
at this time. I'm happy to continue doing what I'm doing. That shows
Right.
that I'm good in this area, but
Hmm.
outside of that, Like that's my capacity.
Pushing yourself through that, and you and I both know this, will just
Mm,
lead you to burnout, and
yeah.
you won't, and like I told him, I said, you won't give all of it, that you won't be able to give what you want to all of the things you've got going, and something's going to suffer. I didn't say that exactly, but that was the idea that something's going to not get the love that it needs, the attention that it needs, and you're going to feel negative things,
Yeah.
whatever they might be, that you're not enough or you're not doing enough. And that's not true. You're absolutely doing too much. And that's
Yeah.
why you're in that place. And just having the maturity, I'm so proud of him. I really am. And it's a goofy thing to say, I know, because he's a grown man, but I am. I'm so proud of him just
You're
for
going to stop, Dan. You're going to start making him cry. I
that's
know
fine.
he's,
I don't
I
care.
know he's,
I'll bust his chops later and he'll stop crying, won't he? Yeah, yeah. I always try to make fun of Jeremy because I have to believe that he is so awesome. His ego is going to get too big if someone doesn't. Got to help him keep his feet on the ground. So I go out of my way to make sure it's in a loving way.
So it
Yeah,
sounds like you guys got to a lot of good business. I
yeah.
think the other thing too, for anybody who doesn't know, if you are a paid member, you will eventually, because it takes some time to get everything notated, but it will be something that's available to read the notes about what took
Mhm.
place at the board retreat and
Yeah.
you know get other pieces of information that maybe
Yeah,
wasn't
you can.
discussed in this podcast because
Yeah,
there's a
I,
lot.
I'm not hiding anything in this.
Oh
It's
no,
just
no,
there's a so I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about fundraising for an hour? Because we talked
no.
about it for 3 hours. No, I know 3 hours, but and the things that, but yeah, the minutes are available. Matt Strain, our secretary, has worked very hard to make everything transparent. This is what
Hmm.
we talked about. This is what we went on, and he recorded the entire thing, and then is going to, now again, this is like 8 hours of audio. Okay. So this isn't going to happen immediately. He recorded all of it, and then he'll go in and just, I don't know how he does it in his process, but
Hey,
he'll
you know what? We
take
have
it
this
all out.
amazing thing called Descript that he could
Right.
put that audio into, and it would do all the
Let AI do the synopsis, man.
it would do the whole thing for you
Yeah.
in a heartbeat. So
Hmm.
that might be something for him to do, you know?
I don't know how he does it, but Descript is definitely the way that I would go. And
Yeah, no
Descript, if you're
kidding.
listening, I'll be happy to talk good things about you, but you have to pay
Yes.
us.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
want
no,
some sponsorship. Come on, Descript. We want something, man. Come on,
You,
Descript. You
no,
know.
they could just send me a sticker, and I'm like, oh my god, they have the podcast. It's amazing. Look, they got a sticker. Yeah, yeah. So I'm not the guy to ask for sponsorships because I love the product too much. I'm like,
Sorry,
no, it's awesome.
I love talking to those guys when we were at the podcast moving out in DC. So
Hmm.
that was a lot of fun for sure. They definitely
They're
sold
great.
us on their product.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
way to
So,
go, guys.
but but yeah, so the board retreat went well, and we did talk about things on a lot of the committees, really, and just how we do it. We have two brand new board members, and just getting them. We've worked pretty hard, and we're still working on refining our onboarding process. But the first couple of months, you're just kind of hanging out on the board. We don't know you well enough to say what we want you to do or what you're capable of doing or what you have the time for. And so the first few months, you're just kind of figuring out how Slack works and things like that, the easy stuff. But it's the retreat, and this is the other part of it that's very valuable. You meet these the people you're working with, and this will be one of only maybe 2 times in a year that you'll be face to face with this entire board. And getting together face to face is incredibly important. We learned that in COVID. Studies have proven it before and after. The face to face interactions that we have are just very, very valuable. And being able to sit at a table with your fellow director and say, well, I want to do this. And they have the humility and they have the openness and the honesty to say, Danny, I don't know how we would do that. How would we work that out? Is this a good idea? Is this something we could support? And not in a critical way, but just, I want to see what you know and what you think we can do. This is a great idea, but how do we implement it? How do we get it from A to Z kind of thing? And doing that face to face just changes the conversation.
Yeah.
because of the facial expressions, body language, and all that stuff. And you can tell if someone tenses up when you say something and they're like not on a Zoom call. They could be kicking, the ground underneath the table and you'd never know it, right? So it's very important to get together with the other board members, the other directors, because we need that community there too.
Yeah.
We need that support group.
Yeah,
Basically.
I really enjoyed when we would do board retreats because you got an opportunity to have these face-to-face conversations. I really enjoyed one-on-ones with
Mhm.
guys. Like, I got to a point where I would always try to set up, like, it wouldn't even set up really. It would be more along the lines of, me and another board member. You could tell we like wanted to go deeper into what was going on, but like at the table was
Mhm.
not like the proper time to like hash it all out,
Yeah.
whatever it was. And so to be able to just be like, hey, Matt, like, let's just go for a walk. Cause, we would take,
Mhm.
decent breaks from time to time.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just go for a walk for 30 minutes. And like, can we just talk about what we were just going, I got some other things. And then to be able
Mhm.
to come back and sit down and be like, I just want to address this, or I want to expand on this after having a chance to just sort of like really thrash out what was
Mhm.
said. And now that I understand this, or whatever it is, or I, after talking for 30 minutes, still don't understand what the heck you're talking about.
Right.
Uh,
I need this again, slower.
yeah. So just all those different aspects of it, that was always something that I really enjoyed about
Mhm.
going on the retreats. I also like to, like, honestly, like the thing with it is too, wherever the retreat is, it's not a vacation.
No.
It's
Oh my
nowhere
God,
near.
no.
It is
I
the
could
most
barely function
intense.
Monday. I was like, what?
Yeah, it
My
is
God.
the most intense meeting you may ever sit in your life, especially
Yep.
from a stay-at-home dad standpoint.
Right.
Like,
Right.
just because of all of the things that get covered, and at
Hmm.
the end of the night, you're just like, okay, I'm ready for a cigar and a drink, or
Yeah. Or a nap. Can we take a
or a
nap?
nap. Yeah.
I need to spin my brain down. Yeah.
Or who's got a gummy? I need a gummy right now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
Right.
something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, but it was always just very productive, and you just never got that kind of we just never got that kind of time.
Hmm.
And I know
Yeah.
that there were a few times we did those kind of things. I remember COVID, we did a board retreat on Zoom
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
2 days. Oh my gosh, 8 hours sitting on a Zoom call.
No.
It was
No. That
rough.
was yeah. That was ill thought. I don't think I could handle that. I mean, it's great. You need that, but man, 8 hours. Whew.
We made it work.
Uh, and and I will say we were so tired Saturday night. Now we're in Chicago. There's so much good food in Chicago,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's so many restaurants, and they were
Did you go try
all
and find Abe Froman?
the Sausage King of Chicago. We did not.
Yeah.
He doesn't let you. He's
Man, you
got
missed
security.
out,
The
dude.
man's got security. You're not just going to walk up to that guy.
There may only
Um,
be a statue of that guy at this point.
yeah, there might be. But Saturday night we were too tired, and like we were thinking about going to this Ethiopian place, and it's this big like family style eating, and it's everybody was kind of, or several people were very very excited about Ethiopian food, and I was, those who weren't were willing to try it, and it seemed fine. And the meeting got done, and it was maybe within 20 minutes, and people just started flopping down in the little living room area, and we're like, do we have to go? Can we get it delivered? Can we like DoorDash food or something? And we couldn't do the Ethiopian, but we went, I think Thai was what we ended up getting. It was delicious still, but I didn't want to walk anywhere. I mean, it was just my brain was done. And somebody said, "Well, where is the restaurant?" And I stared at my phone. And I went, and I just stared at it. Unfortunately, someone else picked up the mantle and they looked it up. So it really is a demanding day. It really is. And especially like you said, if you're a stay-at-home dad, you're a full-time at-home dad, you're not used to this. This is a lot of mental labor that you put in. And
Yeah.
maybe you are, maybe and people are much more capable than I am about this stuff. But for me, very, very draining.
Well, and did you guys do a like Friday evening all day Saturday? Was that kind
Yeah.
of the schedule?
Yep.
Okay.
Got in at the Verbo opened at 3. So we got in, Paul Gordon and I got in at 3 because we driven in, and then everybody trickled in until I think he had to drop his kids off at the airport at 6, and their flight was delayed. So it was like 7 before he even got there. But we had, we went down to this evidently very famous pizza place and ordered what ended up be very expensive pizza. I paid for the pizza because, and the org wouldn't pay for that meal anyway. By the way, y'all, they only pay for the dinner on Saturday. So y'all aren't buying us dinner too much. But yeah, and it was amazing. And we got it, and we walked down to one restaurant, we got back, and by, I would say 8, we were all back at the house and stayed up until, my goodness, it had to be 10 or 10:30 when I finally dropped. I wasn't able. I'm an old man, y'all.
Dude, I was
8,
wait, I was expecting to hear
8:30.
something
No, that's a
like
little too
two
late.
2 o'clock or something
Oh
like
no.
that.
Now maybe someone else did. But Friday night too, we all were letting our hair down, so to speak. We're relaxing, we're having fun with each other. And every single person at one point or another said to me or to someone else, we should get to bed soon. We got a lot of work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And everybody was asleep at a reasonable time on Friday night, and everybody got up and was ready. Meeting was supposed to start at 8:30, I think. And I think we really didn't get going until 9 because we didn't have breakfast. We had to go get groceries and get breakfast because we just hadn't done that yet. I love what you said earlier about going to the board retreat and hearing about something that you're not sure about, and then finding someone else and asking. And the question that came into my head is, if we're sitting at that table and someone says something, and your thought is, am I the only one that doesn't understand this? Or am I the only one that sees this? Or am I the only one that wants this to happen instead? And at the board retreat, and even on our monthly huddles, we voice that. We say, am I the only one? And then you go. And to me, that is the one of the core reasons why our convention and our network is so supported, and we have such a good community. Because if as an at-home dad, am I the only one? Am I the only one doing this? Am I all alone out here? No, you're not. And just like you brought up, if you have a question at the board retreat or anywhere, and you can go, hey, can we talk about that? And you have other dads that are doing a lot of the same work that you're doing, and that respect you and that you respect, that you will be able to bounce those ideas or thoughts or questions off of.
Yeah.
And we encourage everybody to understand that this is a member driven organization. This is a member driven community, and you're not the only one. Whatever it is that you're thinking about, whatever it is that you're going to, you're not the only one. There's someone else that's thinking about it, and someone that's willing to listen, even if they haven't thought what you've thought yet. So I'm encouraging people to reach out to the board. I'm encouraging people to reach out to our Facebook group and Discord. And if there's anything going on about the organization that you want to change, you want to bring a convention to your city, you want to have a cruise instead of a convention, we're not doing that. But bring it up, and put it out there, and let's see what we've got, because we're here, our foundation. We are the solution to the question, am I the only one? You're not. We're here, and we are here across the board for people that are just like us, basically. The other people that are doing it and struggling, and young dads, old dads, new dads, everybody. Fatherhood is where we're at, and we are, honestly, I'm going to say, we're the professionals. If you went to another dad's group as a full-time at-home parent, and you went to a dad's group that was all dads that worked outside the home, you're the professional dad. You're the professional caretaker. You're a caregiver. You're the one people are going to go, hey, my partner mentioned this the other day. Is that a thing? Yeah, it's a thing. And you better take them to dinner or something, because how would you, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
How dare you leave your at-home parent at home?
I think that that sort of sums it up, honestly, in
Mhm.
a lot of ways. I will say the last thing is I really like the term primary flexor that was mentioned.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
man, that is
Melissa said it.
that is a term that I told Corey about, and it was definitely
Mhm.
immediately grabbed onto, of like, that's
I love
exactly
it. Yeah.
what that is. So, and I
Yeah, we
think
need to
that
put that into our for now. We start that on the network and stuff, man.
Yeah. But I think that you hit like some very key things in the fashion of just wrapping up this episode with the fact that this community is such a deep community of being able to really just have a space for many different like types of dads with many different like things that they like to do or talk about and that kind of thing. And then also too to just be able to get in on an executive level to be able to take part in actual like decision making type of things, but
Hmm.
and also have a team that you can work with in different areas. So I hope that that all is very encouraging to those who hear this and who have been trying to maybe figure out like how would I fit
Hmm.
into this whole thing. And I think in the future too, like there's some other conversations to be had about how our organization partners and tries to work with other dad
Yep.
organizations. So and that's
I'm
I kind of
excited.
will leave that door open to talk about that in the future. But Danny, man, this was just a great little reconnect after being out for a
Yeah, I'm
week.
really glad to see you. I'm really
So
glad you're feeling better.
yeah, and we'll definitely be back next week with more fun conversations. So until then, y'all have a great week.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.